right, Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya.
Shalom, this brother Judah Kazak
of GMS New Orleans coming at you with another lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure to the end. And to the few sincere Akwak, diligently learning in silence. Shalom.
Shalom.
And we just thought we'd get into the holiday spirit by cutting this holiday, the biggest one coming up in a couple of weeks. You know, Christmas, which really goes back to, you know, Saturnalia, a Roman pagan holiday where people just got into all forms of debauchery out here. And, you know, a bunch of different little aspects of Christmas. Goes back to a bunch of other forms of pagan idolatry and madness. And what inspired this lesson was a video I was watching earlier where somewhere in the country, I think it was up in the Northeast, you had an Edomite, of course, who was a Christmas, a mall Santa Claus. He got arrested for possessing, child pornography. We'll just put it like that. He was a PDF. And it just got me thinking about how bugged out, you people are, you Jakes especially are, and just our parents growing up, think about it. You take your little kid from 1 to 5 or whatever, you bring them to the mall to sit on some complete random stranger's lap, a grown-ass man, an old man, and your children tell him what they want for Christmas.
Right.
You don't know who this guy is. And as I saw in this video, this one guy was a whole PDF. It's just complete madness. But that's what happens when you give into these holidays out here. They put spirits on you and you're completely bugged out. And we're just going to go into some precepts which clearly cut, Christmas especially, and how, these things that our people worship out here, because our people are heavily in that Christmas spirit, how the Lord doesn't accept those sacrifices, and, you're ultimately going to get judged for it. And really what they think that Jesus was born on Christmas, right. So they're just celebrating his birthday, which is just complete madness. Yahushai wasn't born in the dead of December, the winter, which over in the Middle East, Western Asia, their winters over there are actually harsh and you can die in the desert. So why would he be born in the dead of winter? He'd be outside of an inn, where it's cold, and a newborn baby, his mother and his father, could, freeze to death. But that's a different story.
Start off with the Amos. It's the book of Amos, chapter 5, starting at verse 21. And it reads, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. And, originally, this was talking about, the wicked of our people that, were following the high holy days, and those of the circumcision doing everything right. But what? They were wrong in the spirit. They were sacrificing carnally, but with their spirit, they were off. So the Lord wasn't accepting those sacrifices or those offerings. But it can be applied today because, 2/3 of our people are, they think they're in a holy spirit by celebrating these holidays and, going to Christmas Mass, again, thinking Jesus, which his true name is Yahushai, was born on Christmas, and that it's a jolly, feel-good, love the world spirit. But as it said, I despise your feast days and will not smell your solemn assemblies. It's all in folly. What you got? Yeah, because I want to say our people don't understand the scriptures. The Lord clearly says he hates these feast days. He hates Thanksgiving. He hates Christmas. He hates celebrating birthdays, Columbus Day. He hates all these, these pagan holidays, man. But our people still find some type of way to say, well, it's all right to celebrate the things. But the Lord doesn't approve that. You know what I mean? 2/3 are just clearly blind out here celebrating these holidays, man.
And, Halloween goes back to what? We're, dealing with evil spirits and ghosts out here. Thanksgiving literally is in commemoration of the slaughter of our brothers of the Northern Kingdom.
Right.
Columbus Day, that's another day commemorating the slaughter of our people. Everything this country is built upon is on the subjugation and oppression of our people. But, for 2/3 of our people, they love to have it so because they're drunk off of this Babylon juice. nigga. The spirits are getting riled up. That's why we're standing sideways. So
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
If an alligator come up, we're gonna check
Spirit of the Lord with us.
Kind.
God, it's Book of Amos chapter 5, verse 22.
Hey, I'm gonna just say this is off. This is on a side note. We're in Amos chapter 5 and verse 19 says, if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went to a house and leaned up his hand on a wall and a serpent bit him. Well, we got some wildlife out here, but that's neither here nor there. But you got it.
This is the Book of Amos chapter 5, verse 22. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts.
The Lord just further reiterating, look, I'm not accepting the turkey. I'm damn sure not accepting the ham with the pineapples.
Yep.
The gingerbread houses or the cookies or the mistletoes or the Yule log, any of that. The Lord is disgusted by those sacrifices because, they have nothing to do with him or our high holy days at all. They go back to, pagan worship, pagan holidays, worshiping devils and demons. And like as I said at the beginning, Christmas, the origins really go back to Saturnalia,
right,
which was like a whole week or, a couple of weeks leading up to Saturnalia where people would just be running around, getting into orgies, getting drunk, getting in all forms of debauchery out here.
Number of freak days, if you want to be technical. You want to keep going down?
You can read 23.
This Book of Amos chapter 5, verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I would not hear the melody of thy viols.
And that's one thing I've noticed out of all these holidays, Christmas has the most songs out here.
Yeah.
The jingle bells, deck the halls. I caught Santa kissing mom.
Come on now, man.
Under the missile. And you just hear it non-stop, all the way leading up to Christmas. And then another thing with Christmas, it could be in the middle of November, it could be in October, we're still in Halloween and they already start putting up the Christmas, ornaments and stuff. Why? Because another thing Christmas is just a big money grab.
Yeah.
You say it's the goodwill to all men and all that, but it's really just these corporations selling you stuff and people going into debt to buy a bunch of cheap toys for their children, which they're not going to remember, a couple of months from now. And then I saw another thing. A bunch of people now are using those buy now, pay later things to buy Christmas gifts. That goes to show how bugged out you people are. You don't have the money for some BS like Christmas, but you're going further into the hole just so you can keep up with appearances.
And to back you up, the scriptures tell you, I believe in the book of Exodus, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Christmas is an evil thing. When you dive deeper into it, the sexual immorality that's rooted in it, all type of foul pagan things, that's an evil thing. But what our people do, follow along with it. And it's evil, man. But when we talk about it, they shun us. Oh, you don't know what we're talking about, this and that. You ain't in the jolly spirit. Man, we in the spirit of the Lord, man. The Lord don't approve none of that.
Or the number one thing they always like to go to, I know, but it's for the kids.
Come on now, man.
That, because you just a big kid. You really want to do it, but you throwing the kids under the bus just so you can keep following in these traditions. But yeah, we'll go to that Jeremiah.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10.
You can start at verse 1 and you read down to verse 5.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
The key point, learn not the way of the heathen. These holidays, these customs, these practices, these ways of life, especially in America, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, which Babylon is Babal in the Hebrew, which means confusion by mixing. Mixing what? All these different ideologies and religions into one thing. And then the serpent, Esau, knowing how to package it just right to make it look shiny and appealing to you.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain.
Listen closely.
For one cutteth a tree out the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe.
One cutteth the tree out of the forest. What's that starting to sound like? Keep going.
Verse 4. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Hey, they deck it. What's that one song? Deck the halls with gold and silver. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. So you're cutting out a tree, you're fastening it down and putting gold and silver and ornaments on it. That sounds a hell of a lot like Christmas to me.
Yeah.
And then when you go into even the origins of the Christmas tree, it goes back to Nimrod. That tree literally symbolizes, Nimrod's rod,
Come on.
his phallus. And then, the presents you put under it is pretty much offerings and gifts you receive from worshiping Nimrod. And then, down here a couple of years ago, we did a series of videos going into the different symbolisms of things in Christmas. The tinsel around the tree goes into semen, as well as the star on the top of the tree. And then the mistletoe, the little red berries on it, goes back to a woman's menstrual cycle. It's just all sex, magic, and pagan worship.
I need to back you up. When you dive deep into a jingle bell, really that was used against us in slavery. They'll put it around your neck, and they'll alert you. Let's see, like a slave tries to run off, it'll jingle. That's where the jingle bell come from. So it's all madness and nothing but evil. And now people don't know what they celebrating.
Hey, you know not what you worship.
Come.
You can just read verse 5 and we'll cut it off.
Book of Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
Kind. We had the 3 and the 4 was the main point, that's literally going into the Christmas tree, which, as we just said, goes back to Nimrod's rod. So pagan sex worship, false idols worship. And as we started off with that Amos, the Lord hates and despises your feast days.
Right.
And, you're ultimately going to be judged for it. You want to hold, though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. If you want to go that, if you want to still be a part of Babylon or America when those nukes hit this place, as the brother behind the camera says, if you can't, what do you say, I?
Basically, yeah, prepare to lose or prepare to be burned up with it.
Hey, you either got to prepare to lose it or prepare to be burned up with it.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Because if you want to live like a heathen, man, you go die like a heathen. You go perish like one.
Hey, they spiritually dead. You spiritually dead. So what? The only thing to follow next is the physical body.
Right.
And so with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified by this lesson. And before we get out of here, again, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim, out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe, making brothers enduring to the end. Shalom.
Shalom.